The sky over Iraq was calm, too calm. It was just another routine patrol for the U.S. Air Force pilots flying their trusted F-15 Eagles. These jets were unmatched in the air, and the pilots knew it. But as they cruised high above the desert, their calm was suddenly shattered. Alarms started screaming in the cockpit. Radar warning lights lit up. The threat wasn't just near, it was already locking on. Iraqi MiG-29S had been waiting in silence, hiding below radar using the terrain, and now they were making their move. Without warning, missiles were in the air. The MiGs had ambushed the Eagles. This wasn't a drill. This was real combat. For the first time in a long time, the American pilots were on the defensive. Outnumbered and caught off guard, they had seconds to react. What followed was one of the most intense dogfights of the Gulf War, a life-or-death battle where only skill, speed, and pure nerve would decide who owned the sky. What really happened that day in the skies over Iraq? Let's break down the ambush that stunned even the most experienced U.S. pilots. Introduction. In early 1991, the Persian Gulf was a boiling point of military tension. The U.S. and coalition forces had launched Operation Desert Storm to drive Saddam Hussein's forces out of Kuwait. Amid the aerial chaos, the skies were full of danger, and the U.S. Air Force maintained total air superiority, or so they thought. While F-15 Eagles dominated Iraqi aircraft, there were moments where American pilots found themselves unexpectedly challenged. One such moment came when a group of Iraqi MiG-29 Fulcrums tried a surprise attack, or what pilots call an ambush. These were not ordinary jets. Despite being fewer in number, the MiG-29S were equipped with powerful radar and weapons systems, and Iraqi pilots were trained to use them aggressively. In this rare clash, speed, precision, and decision-making would make the difference. The world watched as the Eagles met their match in speed and agility. But the battle was more than machines. It was about strategy, bravery, and cold-blooded calculation at 30,000 feet. The fighters, F-15 Eagle vs MiG-29 Fulcrum. The F-15 Eagle had long been considered the king of the skies. Built for air superiority, it boasted a perfect combat record, powerful twin engines, and cutting-edge radar systems. Its radar-guided AIM-120 AMRAAM and heat-seeking AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles gave it a long and short-range kill advantage. The Eagle could detect enemy aircraft before they even knew it was there. On the other hand, the MiG-29 Fulcrum was built by the Soviets for speed and maneuverability. It was lighter, quicker in close-range dogfights, and could match or even exceed the F-15 in short bursts of speed and agility. Its IRST, Infrared Search and Track System, let it track targets without using radar, a useful tool for surprise attacks. While the F-15 had superior avionics and radar, the MiG-29's ability to hide from radar using its passive sensors made it dangerous in the hands of a skilled pilot. This made the encounter more balanced than people expected. The ambush, how the MiGs took the first move. During what seemed like a routine patrol deep inside Iraqi airspace, 2 U.S. F-15 Eagles from the 33rd Tactical Fighter Wing flew confidently, scanning the skies with their advanced radar. But suddenly, alarms blared. Something wasn't right. Hidden cleverly, a pair of Iraqi MiG-29S lay in wait, using the terrain and ground clutter to mask their presence. They avoided detection by the Eagle's radar, relying on passive sensors and expert guidance from ground controllers. In that instant, the silent hunters turned into predators, ready to strike first. The Iraqi MiG pilots wasted no time. One of them launched an R-27 missile, forcing the Eagles into immediate evasive action. The F-15S split apart, releasing flares and chaff to confuse the incoming missile, putting them on the defensive, a rare moment for these powerful jets, known for controlling the skies. The MiGs pressed aggressively, pushing to close the distance and drag the fight into close-range dogfighting, where their superior agility could give them a deadly edge. The tension was high. The battlefield had suddenly shifted. But the Eagles were no strangers to pressure. The pilots' intense training and battlefield experience kicked in fast. With sharp maneuvers, they used their radar and electronic countermeasures skillfully to outsmart the attackers. Slowly but surely, the tide began to turn. Despite being caught off guard, the F-15S adapted quickly, regaining control of the fight and showing why they were the top fighters in the sky. This intense ambush became a brutal test of skill, nerve, and technology, setting the stage for a legendary dogfight. Dogfight breakdown. One of the F-15 pilots knew he had to act fast. With adrenaline pumping, he pushed his Eagle into a steep climb, using the jet's raw power and incredible thrust-to-weight ratio to gain altitude quickly. Higher ground meant better vision and tactical advantage. From this upper position, he locked onto one of the MiG-29S using his radar system and fired an AIM-7 Sparrow missile, but the Iraqi pilot wasn't new to the game. He released flares and dove hard, pulling off a sharp maneuver that sent the missile flying off course. The chase had turned into a chess match in the sky, with every second counting. Meanwhile, chaos filled the radio. The second F-15 pilot spotted trouble. His wingman was being hunted by a MiG that had slipped behind him. Without hesitation, he looped around, lined up his target, and launched a deadly AIM-9 Sidewinder missile. This time, it connected. The missile slammed into the MiG's tail, and a massive fireball lit up the sky. Debris from the destroyed jet spiraled toward the desert floor. That one perfect shot changed everything. The ambush had just backfired. The tables had turned. Now the hunters had become the hunted. The remaining Iraqi MiG pilot realized he was outmatched and made a break for it, trying to escape the American jets. But the Eagles weren't about to let him get away. With radar locked and engines screaming, they chased the fleeing Fulcrum across the open sky. Another missile was launched. Seconds later, the second MiG was hit and torn apart in midair. Just like that, 2 MiG-29S were down. The skies were clear again, but the U.S. pilots knew this wasn't just another patrol. It was a reminder that even the best can be caught off guard and that victory in air combat depends on skill, speed, and split-second decisions. What the battle revealed. This dogfight wasn't just about who won or lost. It revealed that no matter how dominant one side might seem, the skies can always surprise you. The MiG-29S, though outnumbered and outclassed on paper, had nearly pulled off an ambush thanks to smart planning and bold execution. For the U.S. military, it was a wake-up call. They realized that while technology and training were top tier, never underestimating the enemy was key. The MiG-29 proved that, in the right hands, even older or outgunned aircraft could still be dangerous. For Iraq, the battle was both a small moment of pride and a reminder of the overwhelming power they were up against. The skies were no longer theirs, and this battle marked one of the last times they challenged U.S. air dominance directly. Global lessons. The encounter became a case study in military academies around the world. It proved that while air superiority is critical, it can never be taken for granted. Surprise, tactics, and pilot skill can turn the tide even against superior equipment. Nations watching the Gulf War took notes. Countries with older fighter fleets began investing in electronic warfare, radar jamming, and passive detection systems like IRST, taking cues from the MiG-29S tactics. It sparked a shift in how dogfights were approached in the modern era. Even the U.S. Air Force began upgrading their tactics and tech. It wasn't just about stealth and missiles anymore. It was about adaptability and speed of response in dynamic combat situations. The dogfight between the F-15S and MiG-29S may have been just one small piece of the Gulf War, but it lives on as one of the most intense real-world tests of modern air combat. It wasn't a simulator or a training exercise. It was real, and it taught everyone involved that dominance must be defended, not assumed. The F-15S survived and won, but not without challenge, and that's what makes this story powerful. It shows that even the best can be surprised and that every pilot, every second, every move matters. What do you think? Could the MiG-29 have changed the course of air dominance if it had more support and better strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real combat stories and military insights that shake the skies.